a woman leader that's driving decision-making today, what do you think is different in the way that you make decisions, in the kinds of decisions that you make, in the things that you champion within the organization?
I think one of the speakers before this, I think the Marshal said that, and it struck a chord in me. I think we look at things very differently than men do. We look at the smaller details. And the small decisions that we take, I think, can make a bigger impact. I think that's what has happened with my experience. The small nuances of everything. It need not be the big bank loans or expansion. It's not that. It's just about how you make everyone feel when they come in. That's all it is.
I agree with you. I think getting people to feel valued, appreciated, seen and heard, I think that's a crucial aspect of leadership. And I think that women, I don't want to generalize, but tend to do that better. But, you know, on the issue of attrition, and this is, I mean, we're laughing about it and we're joking about it today, but this is no laughing matter. This is serious business. What has worked for you to try and bring down attrition? How do you ensure that you get the women to come back, you know, if they do go on maternity leave? What's worked?
Yeah, so Shereen, you know, all the artisans we work with, the women, are all based in their villages. And what's happened with the young women is that once they have, and many of them are not even 12th pass. I mean, most of the artisans have never been to school. The ones who have been to school, we've trained them to become what we call craft managers, supervisors. Some of them are on our board as well. But what has worked is giving them this sense of ownership. So I'll just share that, like when we started Rangsutra, I don't come from a business family. And we decided that it has to be a for-profit company because otherwise you're dependent on grants forever. So we decided to start the company and then went to a bank for loan and no one would give us money. That's when I went back to the artisans I had worked with, and 1,000 of them, 800 being women, put in 1,000 rupees each, and with that 10 lakhs, we started our company. I put in another 10 lakhs from friends and family, and that's how we started. But that sense of ownership means that, you know, the artisans have, and even my team, they're all shareholders, you know, have a stake in the company, they own the company. So there are women, young women who are putting off marriage. That earlier where they were getting married at 18, now it's, you know, 23, 24. And in our case, they go from one village to another and they set up a unit there. That, okay, we are not in our mother's village anymore, but there are women here. And so that's how we've been taking care of this. And also, you know, we've allowed for a lot of flexibility at work, etc.
Yeah, I would imagine. Well, you know, Sumita can create a sense of ownership quite literally for people that are working with her. But, you know, you can't do that. You can't sort of give ownership to the women to, with the effort to try and hold them back. You have to create a culture of custodianship, of ownership. What are the policies that have worked to try and keep attrition low? How do you ensure that women come back to work?
So, well, in ITC, we all feel we are owners of the company, so I would not agree to that. Yeah, in terms of, I think few things when we were looking and we look at attrition, and you know, typical MBA, you try to analyze, you look at understand what would be the reasons for attrition. A few things that have came across. One was from the policy perspective itself, right? And I think, you know, we are a more than 100-year organization, but there were a lot of policy changes that we have done. For instance, you know, leave after having a child for almost, you know, for 2 years you can be on leave and you can go up to 2 child. So in 10 years you can be on leave for 4 years. Caregiver, you know, travel. If you know you have a small child, you want to travel with a caregiver, the company will pay for everything along with that. Paternity leave. So one is in terms of the whole policy part of it. The second is that, and I think I'm quite happy about what my team is doing, is in terms of actually, and this I'm talking about in the management, you know, working, you know, there is this equality and there is this equity, right? In terms of, you know, you look at all your policies are equal, but, you know, when you look at equitable, you know, and how do you bring that equity into it? Is our, possibly a lot of management is male-oriented, right? And therefore, how do we look at what is relevant from a female perspective? How do you look at aggression? How does a man look at aggression and how he behaves, and how does a woman look at aggression, right? We found that a lot of time women don't want to really talk too much about it, while a man will, boast like I'm doing, right? So in terms of, how do you work with them? People felt that we don't have enough role models, or we don't have enough working groups, so we created this whole, ERGs in place and try to. So I think it's a journey.
Sumita, I'll start by asking you, over the next few years, what is it that you would like to see change? What is the next milestone that you've set for yourself at Rangsutra? And if there was one specific ask of those who are in positions of power today in the government, to ensure that we do get better on this front, what would it be?
Yeah, so, we've done reasonably well in the B2B and especially in the global space. Next step for us really is to build our brand within the country. And by that I mean create more awareness among customers here within country. And thankfully, in India, at least Indian women still wear Indian clothes. So I think that's half the battle won. So to create that awareness about not just our craft heritage, but also, the whole, the sustainability part of it, yeah. and how it's needed today to buy, whatever you wear, whatever you buy has a story behind it. So that's on our side where we want to go. And as far as the government, as I said earlier, most of the artisans live in villages. And they're not all going to come to cities in search of work. Yeah. So to create spaces there which are, well lit, well equipped, with creches, with clean drinking water, toilets, etc., where people can come and work. Like we've done that by our own selves in small ways, but I think using solar energy, yeah. that kind of thing, I think that would really go a long way to get more women active in this sector.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and I think that is not just for women, but we need to stop the migration from the villages into the cities because we don't have the infrastructure to cope with that. And so we need to ensure that our villages actually are upgraded as well. Nina, what's the target that you've set for yourself? And, if there was one ask that you had, what would that be?
Actually, today after I came in, when I heard it was 80% women, I'm like, really, I think that's an awesome thing to aim for, I think I'm going to get a lady HR first.
Maybe that'll be a good start.
That'll be a good start. But all the same, I think it's about, it's again something that I feel, the support should come from the family where the women are coming from, And I've seen in the last 30 years that I've been doing this business, men are much more sensitive today. It's really the support that they have at home is all there, And I think we need to bring up our children also with the same thing, saying that, both of you are equal. I think it's important it starts from that. And yes, as support from my organization, I would like to make them as safe as possible, which I've already am doing. And of course, that's the only thing I've not set up the marriage bureau. But you need to do the counseling things constantly. We're always doing it. We make re-entry easy for them. And the maternity leave is also extended. I think I also need to extend it to paternity leave,
Oh,
Maybe that's all. These are things that open up for you because I think it has to be more of a support system than anything else that's going to make it work.
Yes, it has to be collaborative between the employer and the employee. And then, of course, as you pointed out, ensuring that policies are also gender agnostic to some extent. But, thank you so much, Sumita, Nina, Hemant and Rajiv for sharing your very real, authentic stories and insights on what it takes to actually be able to run factory lines, bring women onto the assembly line, and the long distance that we still need to cover because it's not going to be an easy path. And, one thing that continues to strike me, and I picked that up from each one of you, is there is no data in this country that tells us what the situation is. There is no repository that can actually put together these insights, this shared information that we've exchanged here this evening that tells you what's working and what's not. And that's been part of the effort here at Future Female Forward as well. So thank you very much for adding to our playbook. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you.